Guys, welcome back to another episode of Field Vision with Coach Clinton. I'm your host, Bryan Clinton, contributor over at OUinsider.com. Today we are talking about the UCF game. We're going to take a little bit different approach to this one, as I had a really big takeaway from this that I wanted to focus on. Just a quick little synopsis on the game. Oklahoma escapes 31-29. They had to stop a two-point conversion late in the fourth and recover an onside kick. Thank goodness for Austin Stogner on that play, getting it covered up. Just a few takeaways here before we jump into the main point. First of all, Dillon Gabriel was good in this game. He wasn't great. There were a lot of times where it felt like he was forcing the ball. A lot of underthrown or behind guys. I think some of that probably had to do with just him facing his former team. There's a little bit extra emotion in there. You could really tell that he was driving the football whenever he was throwing it. So I think once he settled in and the offense settled in the fourth quarter and things kind of started working out, and Oklahoma's depth really started to show in the game, and it ended up working itself out. But he ended the day 25 of 38. 66% completion rate for 253 and 3 touchdowns. His interception that was to Drake Stoops ended up getting picked off after the tip. I would say that interception is at least partly his fault, given how late the ball was. Again, not a super clean day, but good enough, and obviously he showed up when his team needed him, and they got it done. So looking forward to seeing him get back into the efficiency that we saw from him earlier in the season, or right there before the bye week. Second takeaway, the defense was fantastic in this game outside of 3 or 4 big plays. Those 3 or 4 big plays, explosive plays for UCF, is really what made this game. Oklahoma had some opportunities early in the game whenever they turned over UCF early, forcing punts. They started their first 4 drives in the first quarter were at least, or at the worst were Oklahoma 45 or better. And so when you have those kind of opportunities and that kind of field position, you've got to score, and Oklahoma managed 7 points. They missed 2 field goals. And so the defense early on, as they were really playing well, the Oklahoma offense, unfortunately, was not playing complementary football. It gave UCF some time and some momentum to get into the game, and then once they were, they held the lead for quite some time. So the defense played really well. I don't think that's anything you need to worry about going forward. As long as those guys can stay healthy, Peyton Bowen can get back to being 100%. He was in a boot after the game. If he can get to feeling better, and it should be just fine. The secondary does have some guys banged up, but I think at the end of the day, if they can get those guys, feeling good and put this game behind them, I think they'll be just fine. The offensive line was another takeaway. They were sluggish and didn't look great for the first 3 quarters, but again, just like Gabriel, when they needed to, towards the end of the game, they played well, did a good job running the football. Savion Byrd and Caden Green played well late, and when those 2 guys are playing well, and you've got Rouse, Green, Rame, Byrd, and Guyton, that 5 is a good group. That's a group that can run the football successfully. And I think if you can get those guys to gel and just continue getting better as a group as the season progresses, I think that the running game could really help, and it's going to have to get better because things are going to continue to become more and more difficult as OU continues to work towards the postseason. But the main takeaway for today is Gavin Sawchuk season is coming. I have a feeling that what we saw in the fourth quarter was a positive sign of where this running game is headed, and I think that's with Sawchuk at least being partly featured alongside Tawi Walker. And I think that we could see Sawchuk potentially take the role that Marcus Major has been playing and not at 100%. And so what we're looking at today here, we've got we're going to look at the UCF game, but that's going to be at the end of our video session here. We're actually going to start with the Florida State game last year, which is when we saw Gavin break out. Very first play we're going to look at is zone concept. Got offensive line, your 5 offensive line are all zone blocking, and then you've got an H-back that's going to kick out. He's going to kick out and chop the end guy on the line. In this case, he does a fantastic job. Braden Willis did such a good job, not just in this game, but all season of blocking things up for Oklahoma last year. And so he does a great job cutting him. It gives Gavin plenty of room. And Gavin shows great, sheds this tackle from the safety that comes down, and then makes their second safety, the other safety, miss as well, and it turns into a touchdown. Unfortunately, this one gets called back. There's a holding call on Savion Byrd, and Oklahoma ends up coming away from this drive empty. But it was a really good look at what the Oklahoma running game can look like and should look like if they can get Gavin Sawchuk rolling. And so definitely a play that we needed to take a look at. Second play we're going to look at is with just under 2 minutes left in the second quarter. We've got an inside zone. We've got an inside zone play. So you've got your tackles are zone blocking, your right guard is zone blocking, and then you've got your center and left guard. They're doubling to the mic, and so you see Byrd pick up the mic, and the center has stayed up on the interior defensive lineman there, and it creates a good spot for Gavin to just he takes advantage of the space, and then from then on it's just straight downhill running. Does a great job using his pads at the end of the run here, covers up the ball, takes the 25 yards the defense gave him, and it was a really promising look from the kid. And remember, this guy is, at this point in time, he's healthy. He's 100% healthy, no hamstring issues, running confidently, and has, all the speed and acceleration that he's used to become one of the better high school players in the country before he ended up at Oklahoma. So, this is a guy that's 100% healthy. Just remember that for the second part of the video here. All right, the last play in the Florida State game we're looking at here. This is the touchdown in the fourth quarter that gives Oklahoma the lead, and there's just over 13 or just under 13 and a half minutes left. I'm going to call this split zone with a business decision from Drake Stoops. His assignment is Jared Verse on this play. Not a good blocking matchup for him, but what he does is he occupies in man of the line of scrimmage, and he is able to create enough space with that to allow Sawchuk to make a really good vertical cut off of his left foot, and he accelerates straight upfield and is able to outrun everybody to the end zone. That cut, that one cut right there is exactly what makes a guy like Sawchuk a just brutal zone running back. And I think once he gets things figured out, once the offensive line gets some things figured out, and they start getting some reps together in some game situations, I think things are going to look really good for the Sooners running game going forward. All right, now we're going to jump over to the Tulsa game. This was the first opportunity we had to see Gavin Sawchuk in the 2023 season. And first play we're going to look at here is a split zone concept. So this is what you would call true split zone. You've got a split backfield. You're going to see Barnes block back on the end man of the line of scrimmage, and you see Sawchuk take the carry to the left side to the right side of the field. He's tackled for no gain here, and this is I believe his very first carry. Not only of the game, but it may be the first or second carry of the season for him. And so, what I want you to see here is There's not a lot of room for him to work. The acceleration really isn't there, but Rame gets his tail kicked on this play, and Matauer also does an awful job on this particular play. He leans into the backer, misses it totally, and it gives Sawchuk no room whatsoever to operate. So, there were some pretty big issues on this play, and again, this is against Tulsa, so long way to go from this point for Gavin Sawchuk to become the guy that we need to see him become for Oklahoma's offense to take the next step. Obviously, this was a while ago, and so we have seen that. But let's continue looking at what we've got in this game. The second play we're going to look at in the Tulsa game is a zone insert play. So you've got zone, and your H back here is going to insert into the play and lead up into the linebacker here, and we get a look at Gavin's jump cut, and that's what I want you to notice here. It's not real fluid. There's not a lot of explosive movement to it right now. He's not able to create a whole lot of space there, and he ends up getting swallowed up pretty quickly for a 3-yard gain. But you can at least see that he's settled in a little bit from his first carry earlier in the game, and this is just a little bit better. And so, but the jump cut's not there. It doesn't look like what we saw from him in the Florida State game. And so we've got one more play from the Tulsa game. We've got just over 6.5 minutes left, and we have got an inside zone call. And this is another look at just his development in this game. So if you watch, I believe it's 76 is Jacob Sexton there. He gets a down block on 95. When 95 tries to spin out of this, there's a crease, and there's a lot of running room. And instead of being patient and making that cut, you see him just run right into the back of Sexton and the defensive tackle that he's blocking, and so that ends up making it just a 2-yard gain. Last year in the Florida State game, that crease is probably hit, and it's a huge run. It's a big play, and so I think we're getting closer to that. But again, he's still working into the season. He's still getting a feel for things, and you can tell that he's kind of struggling to see things up to speed, and his acceleration just isn't quite where he wants it to be. Whether that's just him being worn out, not being in game shape at this point, whether he's not trusting the hamstring, still kind of working into things. And so, things didn't look great for him in that game. I believe he had, he had 9 carries, 25 yards in that game. He did have 1 touchdown from a yard out, but not a great game for Gavin. And so the next game we're going to look at here is against Iowa State. We've got 2 plays on this one that we're going to look at. The first one is in the first quarter, about midway through the first quarter, and we've got an inside zone lead play where we've got everybody up front blocking, up front with zone, and you see Stogner is going to kind of lead up there. I believe that this could be called. I believe this could be called wham or maybe an insert, but a lot of those things look so similar at times. It's tough to differentiate. But we're going to go with inside zone lead, and you get another look at the jump cut here. So it's improving. Okay, it's improving at this point. This was about 3 weeks ago, and so you see him make a jump cut here about 1.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He's able to accelerate a bit and make 2 yards out of it. And so things are getting better. It's not quite where you want it to be, but there's at least some improvement there. And so that jump cut, it looks cleaner, it looks more patient, and things are improving. So we've got that one to look at, and then we've got another play here, still in the first half, and this is his best run of the game. This is an outside zone play, and you see him have the ability to stretch whenever you've got penetration from the defense. He's able to get an arm out, extend, and turn the corner. He's starting to really feel a little bit more like himself as far as the speed goes. You can tell that he trusts his speed to get outside. He gives up a little bit of ground to make up ground. And so that acceleration, that ability to change direction and then stretch the play outside is good. Another good sign for the running game and for his game going forward. And so now we're going to jump ahead to what we saw on Saturday. We've got 5 plays we're going to look at here. And a lot of them all of the plays we're looking at are in the fourth quarter. We had a slow start, fumbled a snap on a direct snap to him, and then dropped the ball on the very next play. He was out for quite a while after that happened, but he did work himself back into the game. Ended up having some success, especially late. And so in the last 2 drives that ended up going for scores, Sawchuk was a major part of what the Sooners were doing. And he looked really good. This is the best that he's looked all season long. And so first play we're looking at here, 11:24 left in the game. You see Stogner motion in, and he's going to run. They're going to run an inside zone play here, where the offensive line does a really good job walling them off, and you see a little bit of that cut again. He's able to cut outside. Shows good acceleration. It's a physical run. He picks up 8 yards on the play or 7 yards on the play, and it looks really good. The very next play, he gets his number called again, and this time we're going to see zone insert. Extremely physical play from Sawchuk here. He makes a good jump cut. He makes a good cut in the backfield, and he runs through 21. And this is just part of what makes him such a dangerous back is he not only is he quick, but he has the ability to lower those shoulder pads and run behind them well. And so this was really promising because he turns what looked like maybe a 3-yard gain into a 9-yard gain. And that's what separates great rushing teams from good running teams. And so I believe we have a couple of plays, long incompletion to Nick Anderson down the sideline. And then, so one play after that, he gets his number called once again. This is zone insert, and he turns this one into 8 yards. And again, he's patient. Look at the patience. His feet he's not, the best way to explain this is his feet he's not jittery. He's not getting rabbit feet in the backfield. He is patiently waiting for creases to open up, and then when one does behind Stogner, he accelerates through the hole. He's not getting jittery back there. He's able to just accelerate and take what the defense has given him there. And it's a good run. It's a good confidence building run as well, because he's able to wait and see everything happen. And once it progresses to the point that he's ready to go, he picks up 8 yards. It's a big play, and it's a good play for Oklahoma. And again, he's going to get his number called on the very next play. And he makes another good cut, and the jump cut that he makes right at the line of scrimmage, this is the moment where I feel like, okay, this guy, he's back. He's feeling himself once again, which is good. You need some confidence at that position. And so this is another insert play. They found a lot of success late running that. And that cut right there at the 39-yard line, or at the 41-yard line, is what you want. It's what you want to see from a guy that's starting to build some confidence as a runner. And so all of that builds into this final touchdown of the game for Oklahoma, which obviously was Sawchuk's 30-yarder. And this was on the split zone play that he has done so well with in the past. This is what he scored. This is the touchdown that he scored on against Florida State. He also scored one on split zone that was called back against Florida State. Both of those rushing touchdowns were on split zone. And so you see Stogner come down. He is a direct line at the end man on the line of scrimmage, does a good job walling him off. And Sawchuk breaks through after, again, more patient running there in the backfield. And then the C's part, and it's so wide open that, for a second, he's wondering if he needs to score. There's over 3 minutes left in the game. And he does get into the end zone, but part of me wonders if he's like, well, this is about as wide open as I've seen it. Are they letting me score? No, the play was just blocked up really well. Caden Green does a great job on this play, and you see Savion does a good job. This again, when everybody is working together and gelling together, it's very successful and looks good. And obviously, you've got to give Stogner some credit as well. I think that the more that he continues to be an inline blocker for the Sooners, the better he gets at it. And I think at the beginning of the year, you really missed what Braden Willis was as a blocker last season. And so for them to pick things up and do the things that they did against UCF is a positive and very promising thing, because I think if Oklahoma doesn't find a way to get the running game going, it's going to cost them at some point or another. And seeing what Sawchuk was able to do in this game makes me feel good about where the run game's headed, despite the problems that they've had with it to this point. So that's going to do it for us tonight. We really appreciate you guys checking these videos out, and make sure you're continuing to just let us know what you think there in the comments. And if you're not already, go check us out over on OU Insider. We've got a lot of great stuff. Brandon and Parker cover recruiting as good as anybody out there, and Jesse and I, we've got all kinds of team notes and inside information for you over there. So go give us a try. And until next time, I appreciate you guys once again. This is Field Vision with Coach Clinton, and we will talk to you guys next time.